Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. A quick info before we begin. Today's video has two stories and both of them have updates. Now let's get started with the first one. This post is from the subreddit Relationships and it's by user Throw Peep Boop Away. Friend 24 female wants us 22, 25 females to call her mom. There's a girl in our friend group who's pretty fun and quirky, but lately she's been going around asking us all to call her mom or saying she's the mom friend. Some people have gotten into it because she is a very nice and caring person, but it's also really awkward sometimes, especially when she does it in front of strangers or in public. I don't mind if I'm allowed to ignore it and just call her by her name, but the constant insistence has become uncomfortable. When I explained to her that I couldn't or wouldn't do it because I don't see her that way and I'm just not into it, she became very upset. She not only implied I was jealous, but also that people really do see her as a mom. The latter would be fine if it weren't for the way she explained it, which came across as very pretentious. I mean, she's a likable person, but lately with this thing, it's become a major divide in our friend group of around 7 to 10 people. The handful of us who aren't down are being left out, and it's become more difficult to partake in plans because mom is taking the kids out to play. There are some other behaviors pertaining to her mental health that have made addressing things even more difficult. I'm fine with just opting out of the group entirely. I have other friends, but I'm not sure how to deal with it. What is with this? And is there a way to explain that I'm not interested in calling her mom or letting her treat me like a child without angering her or alienating my friends who do enjoy it? Well, OP, from the information you give us and how hard this person really wants to be called mom, I think it's some sort of control thing. Like, I get the impression that if she likes to be called mom, it's because she likes people coming to her with any kind of problem and she just has an answer for everybody, or she likes to tell people what to do with their lives. And this doesn't mean that everyone that is a mother gets to do this to everybody else. Your friend is just weird. The other question would be, does she have any kids? Is she a real mom? But the thing is, OP, if you letting her know that you don't want to play the kid to her mom, if she gets upset about that, that's her issue to deal with. And the fact that she's deflecting and throwing it back on you because you're jealous of what, honestly? That just speaks volumes about her character. And also, if other people get angry with you because you don't want to play to her game, well, that's also on them. And if you lose those friends, I don't feel like you're losing a lot. You do mention that you're not the only one that doesn't like this situation. Well, talk to the other ones that don't like it and see what's going on, see what their perception of it is. You also mentioned something about her mental health, but don't give any details on that, so I can't comment on it. However, again, her issues are her issues and she should deal with them. And what do you guys think about this situation? How would you address this if one of your friends starting acting like the dad or the mom of the group and forced or tried to force everybody to follow their lead? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Avocado O'Clock says, quote, "The constant insistence has become uncomfortable. I'm just not into it. She became very upset." End quote. I would tell her, too bad. People don't get to pick their nicknames. Does she have some kind of issue with her real name? And OP responds, "Not that I'm aware of. She says people started calling her this on their own, but she's definitely insistent on being the mom or caretaker of everyone. I have no idea what it is, but as much as I appreciate the affection, I have only one mom in my life and she's amazing. Calling someone else mom just for being nice is sort of awkward for me. Just wish she understood." Woobaloo Biddy Doo says, "This is so damn weird. I think it's safe to assume she doesn't have actual children yet, am I right? Just taking a stab in the dark here, but I'm getting the sense that she is pretty insecure and that this is a way for her to create social value for herself. In her mind, if she can establish herself as the caretaker for everyone and getting them to call her mom, she feels safe and important, like her friends won't leave her. She's trying to create this persona, but doesn't realize how awkward and unnatural it is for people. I am the mom of our friend group. Multiple people have said my cooking tastes like home. But never in my wildest dreams would I want them to actually call me mom. That's weird. It seems like she desperately wants to take on that role, but would rather force it than let it come naturally. Basically, don't call her mom, stick to your guns here. The whole notion of a man who must say, "I am king," is no king at all comes to mind. And Opie responds, nope, no kids except her friends she calls her children. She's definitely a caring person if she likes you, but the "call me mom, I'm the mom friend" is beyond my scope of practice as a friend. I'm glad you said this because I always felt a little like it was a power play, like she wanted control over people in a way that made her feel positive and not manipulative, and it never sat right with me. That's what I said. That's just a suspicion, but thank you. It's very validating and relieving. And Deleted says, this is very weird. I had a nickname in high school related to being the mom of the group because I took care of everyone. I didn't come up with it myself and demanded anyone to call me that. Does she treat you like children, like demeaning or bossy? This is very weird. For some reason it seems like some kind of messed up fetish. And Opie responds, demeaning sometimes if you don't act the way she likes. She's a shift supervisor at a market and is very proud of her supervisory work, so she can be bossy from time to time. She's polite about it though. Additional information from Opie's comments. She is extremely controlling, setting the agenda and always needing to know everyone's schedule and details of everyone's private lives. She does it under the pretense that she cares, same with extracting gossip from people by saying that she wants to understand, but I've never been comfortable with that either. And when I told her what I thought about her demand, she accused me of being jealous and to some extent stuck up and explained that everyone values her and feels like she's their mom. It got pretty weird. I definitely wouldn't be okay with being called mom by random people, but I figure whatever floats other people's boat is not my business. Obviously, I can't expect anyone else to live by my standards, so I probably let it perpetuate to a more awkward stage than it needed to. A couple of other friends are uncomfortable enough with it to say something to other people in the group. I'm the only one who's talked to her about it, but because a few people are okay with calling her mom, she thinks I'm just being indignant. I roll. One time when she went off on a tangent about how she was always very mature for her age as a child, and she's called people outside of the group immature for not seeing eye to eye with her in the past, I thought nothing of it, to be honest. But the more I think about it, it's starting to sound a little more serious than me just being irritated about being asked to use a special nickname. I think she wants to pass it off as being a light-hearted joke, but she definitely likes it in a weird, but maybe not necessarily fetishy way. Like she just really likes being called mom and being responsible and in charge of everyone. One thing that I find ironically funny is that she hates children. Opie's short-term update. I was invited to hang out with the group tonight, but politely declined after checking the aforementioned friend's social media. She even has things like mom friend plastered all over her profiles, which is a little too weird for me right now considering. Going to cuddle up with my boyfriend and watch Archer instead and think a little more about how I want to handle this going forward. Thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate the suggestions and I'm always happy to hear more. Alright, well the community have a couple of theories regarding this person and what she's trying to do, and they're telling OP that she should just stand her ground and not let her do it to her. And that's where OP apparently is, so let's move on to the update to see how this story ends, but before that of course you know that here's another one of my playlists for you to enjoy after the video. Now let's move on with that update. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for the advice, clarity and support in the original thread. A handful of my closer friends in the group were open to discussing the topic and even going over what everyone here on Reddit had to say. Some comments were particularly poignant as we combed through the thread, and we appreciate them all. As it turns out, the mom thing escalated from a minor compliment that she ran with until it became what it is now. We feel guilty that she feels the need to make a charade of being the mom friend in order to feel good about herself, and that it's escalated to emotional manipulation. When we talked about the issue, we identified several things that might be feeding her insecurity, but are sadly out of our control. We don't know how to approach these things in a way that won't trigger a mental health episode with her. It's clear that she's suffering from severe insecurity and it's trying to penalize those of us who are independent and want to foster regular friendships rather than defer to her as an ultimate inspiration and influence in our lives. Of those of us who are not comfortable, we've concluded that we'd like to wean ourselves away from the remainder of the group. For us, this isn't friendship and it isn't fun. If she needs this mom thing to feel validated, then she is welcome to receive that validation from those who enjoy taking part. Unfortunately, that's just not us. We can't provide that for her, and we can't give honest or healthy support for her behavior at this time. It was agreed that we wouldn't tell her about this conclusion right now because we believe it may be a detriment to her mental health. She seems to struggle with processing negative emotions to such an extent that they become her entire life sometimes. I wouldn't say she's necessarily dangerous to anyone, but it seemed more polite and painless to let her make her own conclusions of what's going on. That way, she can say we're just a bunch of indignant jerks, or maybe hopefully realize that it was simply not the relationship any of us wanted or needed. I feel bad that we're abandoning her, but there are plenty of other opportunities and places to be with my friends, and I don't have to be infantilized or be submissive to a random person just to be accepted. It's clearly unhealthy for all of us. Well, OP, I still don't know what's going on with her mental health, but if it's so huge that you can't tell her about this because it's gonna cause some sort of a breakdown, maybe you guys should suggest a therapist for her. Because I get the idea that those that like to partake in this whole mom thing will not be in it for too long, and when they get tired, it's gonna break. But that was never really your problem. In any case, OP, here's wishing you the best in the future. Thank you so much for sharing and take care. Now, let's move on to the next post that, like I said in the beginning, also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Relationships and it's by user Deleted. Me, 24 female, with my boyfriend, 24 male, of 5 months. I need to break up with him, but I need advice. Hi Reddit, so I'm in a bit of a dilemma and I've never been in this situation before, so I need some advice. I have been seeing this guy I've met for about 5 months and we met on Tinder. We started seeing each other 8 months ago and made it official about 5 months ago. He's a nice guy, but lied and broke my trust the first week we started dating, and he has lied about several things since. I'll give details if anyone wants. I don't feel I will ever be able to trust him, so I want to break up with him. Good choice. However, he practically moved in with me right away when we first started dating. He had just gotten out of the military and was living in between his parents' places, which made it difficult for me to end things, and he just recently got a new job in my city after being unemployed for a few months. His parents live about an hour and a half away from this new job, so if I broke up with him, I wouldn't want to kick him out because it'd be a really long commute and I'd feel bad. I have tried breaking up with him several times because of this, but he just stays around and wants to talk and will continue asking why I'm breaking up with him and why he's not good enough for me, and eventually I give in. I've probably tried breaking up with him like 5 times, but always feel bad and end up getting back with him. I have stopped being affectionate and I'm hoping he'll just get bored of me, but he just keeps trying harder and harder to make this work when I already feel like this relationship is done and has been for a while. So Reddit, how do I break up with him and make it clear that this relationship is over? Thanks for reading and any input. Well, OP, just be honest and stand your ground. Tell him that the relationship is over, that you can trust him, and that he needs to move out now. Now, you feel bad because making him move out would put him in a difficult situation. So what? He's an adult, he's got a job, he can easily look for a place to rent. He doesn't need to go back to his parents' place. In any case, that isn't your issue. Your issue is to stand your ground. You need to grab your spine and really solidify it, or else you're just gonna keep getting turned on your head. Now, unfortunately, nobody can hold your hand while you're breaking up with somebody. So I don't know, maybe practice in front of the mirror or something, but you need to break up and you need to ask him to move out. And what do you guys think about OP's situation? What would you do if you were in her shoes? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Another deleted account says, "Don't give in, tell him he needs to move out pronto. If he doesn't move out, ask the police to help you. He is not your problem. His commute and his job is his own dilemma. You shouldn't feel responsible for him. He sounds like a freeloader. Grow a backbone and stand up for yourself." Darthist Vader says, yeah, you should tell him how you feel and tell him that you don't want to work things out. Also, give him a month's notice like someone mentioned. You can't feel responsible for him if he has sufficient notice. He's an adult and should be able to figure this out on his own. Best of luck. Don't give in, girl. Aikistan says, quote, I'm not happy with our relationship and I'm ending it. End quote. Don't ghost or slow fade. Cut him off clean and you can both move on, all the faster. Okay, well the community was pretty direct with telling OP that she needs to grow a backbone and get it done. Now OP didn't reply to any comments, so we don't have any additional context, which means we move on straight to the update to see how the story ends. I just wanted to post a quick update to whoever commented and messaged me about my last post here. So I can happily say that I broke up with him that same night. He knew something was up and I had a really hard time putting all the words out there, but I told him we were done. And of course, he tried to guilt me into staying with him. He kept going on about how much he put into our relationship and how he never treated me badly. However, I stayed strong and told him we were no longer in a relationship. I even told him he could stay until he found another place. And then, about 2 weeks later, things got a little messy. He told me he found a place and was going to be out by that Saturday. Then I came home that Friday and was upstairs in my room. He came into my room and started asking me random questions about my ex. What is his name? Is his name so-and-so? I told him it was none of his business, and then I realized that while I changed my passwords and locks on my iPhone and laptop, I never changed my password on my iPad. He went through my Facebook on my iPad while I was at work, even though we had been broken up for 2 weeks at that point, and saw messages from another guy I was talking to. I never even gave him the code to my iPad and had no idea he knew the code. It was different than all my other ones and I rarely use it. Anyway, he goes and grabs my iPad and tries to show me and asks who is so-and-so. And I took my iPad from him and told him it was none of his business, that we were broken up. Honestly, I wasn't even talking to my ex. I confided in an old friends with benefits and we started flirting pretty hardcore, but I hadn't even done anything physical with him at that point. He just assumed it was my ex for whatever reason. Then he started telling me that I was a floozy and a heartlet, and I started to feel suffocated because I'd been in crappy abusive relationships before. So then I packed all of my electronics and left. It was my default reaction to run as I have in the past. And then, about 5 minutes later, I realized that he had just berated me and called me abusive names in my own house. And I got really pissed. I realized there really wasn't anything he could do to me. He never got physical with me at least, and I was ready to call the cops if needed. I was done letting people walk all over me. So I went back home and told him to get the F out. I was being nice by letting him stay until he could find a place, and then he had to go snooping through all my things. He kept begging and asking if he could stay, that I'm not a floozy, that I'm really smart, and that he knows guys want me, etc. Basically all BS, like before, so he could stay longer. Now, I know I should have kicked him out when we broke up, but if I had done without warning, I could see it being an issue. But since I gave him 2 weeks time to find a place and he started acting aggressively, I was within my right to make him leave. He also never paid rent, he'd buy food. Never had any mail sent to my place, and most of his belongings were still at his parents' house a few hours away, since he never went and got his stuff from them after he got out of the military. So I stayed firm and told him I didn't care. He doesn't get to call me names in my own house, and he needed to pack his stuff and leave now. He packed and left a few hours later. I don't know and don't care where he went, but I am so happy he is no longer in my life. I blocked his number and blocked him on all social media. I live in an apartment and have asked my landlord to change my locks, so I'm hoping they'll do it soon. They haven't got back to me yet, so maybe I'll just go ahead, replace them and give them a key. I have also started eating better again and have been going to the gym 5 times a week for the past few weeks, and I'm feeling so much better. I've lost 5 pounds since he's been gone. I was really in quite a slump there for a while and put on quite a bit of weight. So I'm taking care of myself for now. He was pretty awful and he really liked making the whole breaking up process harder than it should have been. I plan on not letting this type of thing happen again anytime in the near future. I just changed all my passwords and got a new email yesterday. Smiley face. I'm single and allowed to flirt, and he shouldn't have gone through my stuff. Plus, the relationship was over a long time ago. Thank you to everyone that bothered to read and reply to my first post. You guys helped me make the right choice and gave me the push I needed. I love you all. Well, OP, good for you for finding your spine and going back and telling him to get out. I find it funny how he just tried to backpedal that floozy comment. You can't come back from that. And also telling you that you're very smart. Yeah, that doesn't sound like he's playing to you at all. Anyways, again, good for you, OP. Thank you so much for sharing and all the best in the future. Take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.